Hey guys, I'm James with Torches and Tactical, and today we're going to have a little bit of fun. Now, I know you've seen those YouTube or Facebook ads that tell you that they have a 100,000 lumen flashlight that is going to shine all the way to the moon and back, and then with a flick of a wrist, you're able to change things over to a floodlight that's going to give you a perfect usable wall of bright white light, and I wanted to put one of those to the test. So we picked up a Garberiel GF1104CE, and this is a zoomable thrower. Now, no, it doesn't tell you that it has 100,000 lumens or shines to the moon and back, but this is touted to have 5,000 lumens from a round die LED, and that 5,000 lumens will, when it's extended, shine all the way out to 900 meters. And it is powered by an 18650 cell or a 26650 cell battery. Does give you USB-C charging and gives you 3 brightness modes as well as 2 blinkies in typical zoomable flashlight fashion. But we're not going to run lumen tests or runtime tests or anything like that. Instead, what I thought it'd be fun to do was to compare the Garberiel GF1104CE to a thrower and a floodlight. Now, 5,000 lumens in pure flood should give you very, very good visibility. So we're going to compare it to the Workos TS22. Now, the TS22 does give you 4,500 lumens, and actually, if you remember during one of our video reviews of the TS22, it did give us 4,502. So very close to specifications and a ton of usable light from the XHP50 LED. So we're going to compare in flood mode to the TS22, but when we extend the light out, it is supposed to give laser beam-like focus that shines for 900 meters, so we thought it'd be fun to compare it to the Nextorch P82. Now the P82 gives you 1,200 lumens from a round die LED, and this shines out to 1,100 meters. So these are the closest LED comparisons we had as far as throw. And I did, frankly, want to compare this to my Thor 3 LEP, but that uses laser-excited phosphors, and I didn't think it'd be fair. But before we get to the comparisons, let's go ahead and move these out of the way and find out everything that comes in the package with the Garberiel GF1104CE. Now, I'll tell you that the light did come to me in a bubble package, and the box unfortunately didn't fare too well. Now, this is the box that the Garberiel light came in, and when I opened it up, I did see that there was no bubble wrap, no foam wrapper, nothing like that protecting the light, but we can empty out the contents, and there is a USB-C cable, as well as a lanyard. Now, this does look pretty close to be a generic lanyard. However, it does have one pretty cool feature that I like. Now, if you ever have a lanyard on your flashlight and you want to take it off, you know sometimes you have to go through the steps of unweaving the end of this from the lanyard hole. However, this does come with a quick release clip, which I actually do appreciate. So if you ever want to take the lanyard off and carry it a little more discreetly, you can. However, the lanyard hole, if my hand was any larger, I would not be able to get this in here, even in its loosest form. So it will make sure it doesn't move, but if you have larger hands, it may be a little difficult to get on and off. So let's get this out of the way, as well as that USB-C cord, and take a look at the light. All right, guys, now the light is, like I said, a Garberiel GF1104CE, or Garberiel calls it on their website their 20-watt 5,000 lumen round die LED flashlight. Now, we can take a look at it up close, and you can see there's quite a bit of knurling on here. There's actually quite a bit of machining on here altogether. And it's for good cause too, because this knurling is going to give you a little bit of the grip that the glossy finish does take away. Now, it's all in all, it's not bad. However, if you've held other lights in your hand, you will know that the quality does seem a little bit on the low side. Now, let's see if I can get in really close here, especially these cooling fins. I was able to witness quite a bit of machining marking going on in here. And the anodizing seems a little bit thin, but all in, it does seem pretty even. Now, There is one area of the flashlight that I'm not particularly keen on, and that is the threads. Now, if you can hear this, these do have very rough sounding threads, and that's even though it is anodized. Now you can see that it does taper in a little bit, and I think that's going to help start it, but also gives it a little bit of that rough feel. Now, while we have this open, I will just go ahead and say that it does have a pretty stiff gold-plated spring, or at least it appears to be gold-plated, and it does give a lot of resistance. And if I push on the battery, you can see that it does have a spring on the head side as well. And that's going to give you room to make sure that you can get that 18650 battery in. Now, one thing I'm not particularly a fan of is they did ship it with an 18650 battery, but there's no spacer. Now, this means that the battery is going to move around, cause a ton of racket, but those springs do hold it in place pretty well. And I noticed minimal shifting of the actual battery inside when it was installed. Now, let's take a look inside. And those threads are rather loose. It means that when you have the spring pressure applied, you need to make sure that everything sits pretty even, or else it can catch. Okay, so that time it worked pretty well. So we can move over to the head of the flashlight, and like I said, they do have some pretty massive cooling fins here. It does have an E switch here that's going to actually activate the light. And opposite that switch, you do get your USB-C charging port. Now, it does line up pretty well, and I did test it. Everything does work on that, but I'll get to that here in a second. And those cooling fins and the knurling move up to the head as well. That's going to help you adjust it to that LEP-like focus when you need to shine out to 900 meters. And then you can see a huge spherical lens up top, and that's going to let the light shine out as much as possible when you're in flood mode or when the head is down. And then when you pull up, you do lose visibility of that round die LED, but it's going to direct everything to the very center, and it's going to get that light out as far as possible. Now, if you think that it's going to hit 900 meters, we will do that comparison with the P82 here soon. But in the meantime, let's move on. Now, you can see that when the switch is on, it actually gives you pretty good feedback. The button's a little squishy, but the actual engagement of the switch underneath it is pretty decent. It does have that blue indicator to let you know that the light's on, and it doesn't adjust down with your modes or your settings. It stays constant. It will shut off once it's off, and it also serves as a battery indicator. When the charging cord is plugged in, this will shine up red while it's charging and then change to blue once it's not. So for the UI, if you've ever held one of these zoomable flashlights before, you do know that the UI is pretty familiar, and you get your high mode, your medium mode, your low mode, as well as your strobe and then your SOS. So a total of 5 modes, and this is no different. So you do have your high, medium, low, flash, and then your strobe. But I like to consider this the version 2 of that user interface, where before, the older ones, you had to go through all 5 modes in order to shut the light off. And this one, you can actually, let's go ahead and go to low mode. You can actually just hold down that button, and from wherever you're at, it will shut off. So again, something that I do appreciate, but is it enough to make this light worth it? Now, this light does come in at $27 on the Garberiel website, which isn't the worst price I've ever come across. But for an extra $8, you can get the Workos TS22. So which one do you think is going to be a better option? All right, so now to the part that I know you guys all want to see. We're going to go ahead and do some nighttime beam shots of the Garberiel GF1104CE up against the Workos TS22, and that's going to be in flood mode. Then we'll go ahead and retire the TS22 for the rest of the video and compare it to the Nextorch P82. Now we're going to do that with the light in extended or throw mode. So let's get outside and we'll do our nighttime comparisons between these 3 lights, just so you can see if $27 does get you that 5,000 lumens, and if it gets you the 900 meters of throw. So let's head out there. All right, guys, we are going to do a flood test first. So we do have the Garberiel GF1104CE. Now I'm just going to go straight into high mode because that is the first setting. We'll go to medium. And then we'll go to low. And then to put that into perspective, we do have TS22. Now this is 4,500 lumens versus the Garberiel's 5,000. Alleged 5,000. Now we'll do a shift from flood to throw with the Garberiel GF1104CE. Now this is high, medium, and low. And we have the next torch P82. We have high, medium, and low. All right, let's head back inside. All right, guys, we went outside and we compared the Garberiel light with the Workos TS22, and then we also compared the Garberiel light with the Nextorch P82. So I want you guys to tell me down in the comments what you thought of the comparisons between the two throw lights and the two floodlights. But all in, if I'm being frank, I can tell you I'm not too surprised that we saw quite a bit of difference. Now granted, it was a relatively clean spill line, but we saw quite a bit of difference in the amount of light provided from the 5,000 lumens and the 4,500 lumens. And then I'm also not surprised that we saw, even with the amount of spill this had, that the beam just seemed that much stronger in the center from the 1,200 lumens compared to the 5,000 lumens again. Now, if you guys do want to see a comparison with the Garberiel versus the Thor 3 LEP, now I can do that, but it will be a YouTube short. So let me know down below also if you want to see that comparison happen. And guys, I'll tell you right now, this is only 400 lumens. So let's see if the ultra focus of the LEP does give any comparable gains for the spherical lens of the Garberiel light. So getting that aside, moving the P82 back, as well as the TS22, I will just say that the packaging seemed a little bit lackluster. Overall, I have had some of these in the past, and while it's not as bad as I remember, for the money that you're paying, you do want to know that you are getting a good product, and I'm not going to say you shouldn't buy this. I can't knowingly say that, but what I can do is say that if I had $27 to spend, I don't know if the Garberiel GF1104CE would be the way I would do it. Now granted, you can have a lot of fun with some Zoomie lights, but I don't feel like the technology has advanced the way that all the advertisements on, again, Facebook and YouTube make it seem like it has. So again, I'm not going to tell you not to get this, but I hope that this video was eye-opening into the comparisons in flood mode and comparisons in throw mode and what you can expect from an alleged 5,000 lumens. So thank you guys for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and we can do more comparisons like this, or we can answer any questions or give comparisons that you guys might have. Just let me know. But for now, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.